Hello, everyone. Welcome to our class. And before we start, to show respect to the saints and sages that taught us prior in the past, let's all do three bows to show our respect. Three bow, one bow, two bow, three bow. Hello, everyone. Welcome. And I would like to first to say thanks to the grace of heavenly matter, the virtues of our holy teachers, and the mercy of our grand mentor and grand senior mentor for all their teaching, and all the mentors who have been teaching us and masters been teaching us that today, and would like to thank you for joining this program recording. Its introduction to Confucius. So this introduction of our course of the Confucius Analect. Many of you heard of Confucius, and also heard of the book, the Analect. But many of you may not have the opportunity to learn more about Confucius, and it is my greatest honor and pleasure to introduce about Confucius today to you all. And thank you again for giving the opportunity to learn and share this information together. So on our PowerPoint here, you'll see the gentleman here on the left. That's a photo of Confucius. And this is a representation of him in the past. And to go into more in-depth introduction. So who's Confucius? So Confucius, he's also known, also called as 孔夫子 or 孔子 in Chinese. That's how the Chinese, if you talk to Chinese person and you say, have you heard of a gentleman called 孔子 or 孔老夫子? Oh, they would say, yeah, of course. And who he was a Chinese philosopher and a very famous teacher. Based on the history, he was the first person who was teaching everybody, to anyone that who wants to learn, and also teach appropriately in accordance to the people, the students' ability and knowledge. And also because of his teaching and also his way of sharing this ideology, he influenced the Chinese culture. Not only the Chinese culture in Taiwan, in China, in Taiwan, or in Southeast Asia, it's any Chinese people who share the Chinese culture have that root in them, and they're influenced by Confucius. So he, to give you a little bit background, is he lived around the spring to autumn period in ancient China around 6th to 5th century BCE. So about 500 years before Christ was born. And Confucius is regarded one of the most important figure. If you ever had an opportunity to read Chinese history, of all the government systems, and also of all the emperor were ruling their empire, or the government how it was run, and also how they hire their ministers to run the government. A lot of the selection process was through the test of the understanding of Confucianism, especially in the more recent dynasties, like the Qing dynasty, that's the last dynasty of China, the last empirical dynasty in China, or Ming dynasty didn't use as much. Actually, Ming dynasty, yes, they did use a lot. It's the one before Yuan, they didn't use as much, but um, most of them been using the Confucius foundations to run their country, to run their family. So that's how you see how important this. And then also in school, Confucius was taught, and it emphasized in what? In ethical behaviors, moral integrities. And the key thing is trying to promote social harmony. So in this introduction, we will go through the understanding of who Confucius is, and also what was his vision, and also why he start teaching. So we all can share this understanding together. And then when we are back in the our center, we will be able to do our discussion if any questions. Okay, and definitely please feel free to Google it. They're more in-depth introduction about Confucius online also. So feel free to Google it and find out more. So we briefly talk about Confucius' vision. So his vision, what was his vision? His vision is really about the great harmony among all the people. And later in this introduction, we'll be talking about why he started teaching and like the era he was in, what he saw. So that's what triggered him to start his teaching. And the key thing is that's all understanding together of what was his vision. So I'm showing you here in Chinese on the right. These are the Chinese calligraphy written by the grand senior mentor, Bai Shui Lao Ren, Bai Shui Shendi. That's the gentleman who taught me the A-section parquet in my dream. And this is written by him. And well, actually, the words are written by him, but the actual information was written by Confucius' student after Confucius passed away. They basically were making notes or summarizing everything that Confucius taught them, and then summarize this. So this at the here you see on the right, this is called. I'll read in Chinese quickly. It's called Li Yun Da Tong Pian. So what it meant, like if you translate into English, it says the great unity. But if you break down in the translation here, what it meant is it means the word etiquette or the word in a proper a proper flow, a proper operating, a proper harmony, a proper harmony among everyone in this on this planet. Um, so what this it's about. So this is the this is the subject or the book of the great harmony among us all. So that's what he was talking about, and that's what then we translated under calling it the great unity. So so let's go over the vision that he has, what he's talking about. So first, probably this is the best way. Let me finish reading the whole thing, so you can kind of, for those who have some understanding of Chinese, they'll be able to follow me to read together. And for those who doesn't, it's okay. You can also learn how to pronounce it or just listening to it, because these information you can see online, but not many people, not you may not be able to hear the whole entire pronunciation of all the word. So let me start from here. So 大道之行也，天下为公，选贤与能， 讲信修睦，故人不独亲其亲，不独子其子，使老有所终，壮有所用，幼有所长。鳏寡孤独废疾者，皆有所养。男有分，女有归。或物其器于地也，不必藏于己；利物其不出于身也，不必为己。是故谋闭而不兴，盗窃乱贼而不作。故外户而不闭，是谓大同。So the interesting thing about this paragraph or this summary or this subject that he was talking about, it's if you look at the very end, the reason why I want to finish reading it first, it's what it actually says. What's the meaning of the great unity? So that's the very end. What's the meaning of great unity or great harmony of everyone on this planet? So that's what this whole paragraph is about. So at the end actually says, what is the meaning of great unity? So then we go from the beginning. Also, the great unity, it's also in Chinese, also says as the way of the great Tao. So we did learn about it. The great Tao, what's the great Tao? Tao means the way, the path. So the great Tao actually, if you lack of better translation, it's the proper way, of how the planet or everyone on this earth should be in great harmony, working together, not fighting among each other, but working collectively well, working together in harmony. So that's what it says. The way of the great Tao or great harmony or proper way to have this great harmony is to make the whole world a commonwealth. So that's what it says. 天下为公. So it's a 天下为公. This means that the world or the planet, everything on this planet, it belongs to everyone. That's what that commonwealth means. So, for example, this planet, it's all ours. Ours meaning what? We have to pay respect to it. That's why we recycle. That's why we be careful about global warming. That's why we watch out for all these issues that may have the detrimental effect on this planet. That's why we try to prevent war going around. People start shooting each other. That's why we worry about people dropping nuclear weapons or weapon of mass destruction at each other, because at the end, we have nothing left. So that's why we are trying to promote this harmony. So everybody living in harmony, in happiness, and working together instead of working against each other. So that's the proper meaning or the proper way of how the universe or how this everyone on this planet should work together toward. So that's the first beginning. That's the whole most important. How do you keep the great harmony? It's first you got to understand this world is not owned by one person. This planet is not owned by a certain group of people. It's owned by every being that living in here. So we should work together in great harmony. So then how do we start from there? So then it says in Chinese here it says 选贤与能. 选贤与能, this four word. So it means in Chinese, in English it says, so it means choose the ones with good moral character and capable skills and knowledge to lead. So it's very interesting how he had these vision back in the imperial times, where as we know, the leaders, the kings or the monarch, they were not elected, they were not chosen, they were actually appointed by their forefathers or predecessors. So it's passed by parents to kids, kids to grandkids, but it's not about how if they are capable or they have good moral character. It's by the monarch. So look at in back that was close to 3,000 years ago, and then Confucius was having these ideologies saying, well, we should choose the ones first, not the richest guy, not the smartest guy, not the best guy with the best knowledge. No, it says choose the one with the best moral character and capable skills and knowledge to lead, to help us, to lead. Actually, to lead is probably not the best word to use. It's actually the best knowledge to serve the people, to serve, to serve. Okay, to be the main serving person, to serve everybody. Then the next thing is the next after that is then where to start first when that person is being selected. So let's say the this supreme servant of the people has been selected. What is his first focus? So here says 讲信讲信修睦. So it says here 讲信修睦. The first thing he has to do and focus is to promote trustworthiness among everybody. So everybody is trustworthy. So for example, if I do something with you, let's just say a normal trade. If I say, oh, okay, I will do this for you, and say, oh, okay, I will do that for you. I mean, maybe in monetary value, maybe not in monetary value, but we make a pact, we make a deal, we make a agreement, and then both sides execute it. Same thing with marriage, for example. The key thing about marriage is the husband and wife, they make the pact to live together. So everybody share their responsibility working together. So that's the trustworthiness to start. And then the next thing is once you have established the trustworthiness, trust between the relation each other, then the next thing is to cultivate harmony. First, you have the trust, and then you have harmony with respect to each other and with great harmony toward each other. Okay, so then that's the beginning. So once you do that, then says 故人不独亲其亲. Okay, so what does it mean here? So thus, people do not only favor their own family members. So when you're establishing that trust and harmony, it's not only among family members. Then they will extend toward not only their family member, but to everybody they're engaging with, their neighbors, their friends, people at work, people they are meeting with, husband and wife, of course, that's in the family, and everyone in the circle. So that's why in Confucius, they really spend all the time emphasizing the five bondings between people. And later we'll go into that in detail, because if we start going into detail on that, will take a lot of time. So then people do not only favor their own family members, nor only love their children. So they start treating, so very much like a community. A community, everybody treat other people's children as their own. Of course, I mean, there's separation. You know, it's something you do with your child that you do not break the boundary, but you treat them the way that from your bottom of your heart, no different how you're treating your children. So that's how you extend that harmony forward to people outside your family. So that's how the Confucius says that's the step. So that step, once that step is established, and then they will start to, says here, then the next step is 使老有所终. So 老有所终, what does it mean? It means here to ensure the elderly have a dignified conclusion to their lives. So they have a good place to live for retirement. They have a respectful place to live for retirement. And they also can apply their skills, apply their knowledge to help others. So they have a good place to to finish at the end of their life. So that's what this word means. So the people who are in the center, so the people in the middle aged people, so it says 壮有所用. 壮 means the people who are strong. So mostly people meaning strong is the middle aged people. So people between their 30s to their 60s. Well, of course, back in that time, the average lifespan is not so long. So they don't really live that long. But right now, we are talking about generalizing terms about people from 30s to about 60 or 70. So that's strong. Then what do they do? So to make sure that the strong have the opportunity to apply their skill, to be useful for the society, to be useful to everyone, because they can lift more, they have more energy to do more versus the elderly, and they have better knowledge than the younger one, because younger ones don't have the proper knowledge to do more for everybody. So the middle-aged people are the most important drive or most important people to contribute for the society. So that's what it's saying. And then it says here, 又有所长.又有所长 here meant that the young ones have the avenues for growth. So what does it mean avenues? So they can be taught properly, to be raised properly. So they're not living in poverty, they're not living in fear or living by attacked, like some people, some young ones, some kids living in the war zone, as we saw, they barely have food or water to eat, not to mention about learning. So they will not be able to have a secure future. So we don't want that happening. So that's what he's saying. It's we want to give the young ones the growth, not only with proper food, water, and also knowledge, and also the most important thing. The most important thing is the proper moral value. Then once we teach that, they will be able to apply that for their future, and then ensuring that the society going forward is in great harmony. Okay, so then what's the next step once these are established? So it says here, 鳏寡孤独废疾者皆有所养. So what it meant here, it says the next step we need to do is support for the widows, to the orphans, the lonely, the abandoned, and the disabled. So the people in the society who are weaker, so they can be supported to the widows, the orphans, the lonely ones living by themselves, the abandoned one, and also the disabled, so that all have care. Okay, so that's what you're trying to say, that the people who are lonely, who doesn't have the support as some people have the proper family to support them, now make sure they have a similar opportunity to have people taking care of them. Okay, so then it says 男有份，女有归. So then also that's talking about a family. In the family, in the old time, of course, it consists of a male and female entity in the family. So that time it says male have their roles and responsibilities, and the women have their places. So they share responsibilities. They're working together for greater harmony. So that's what he meant. Then once that's established, and then that people have the harmony, they're pure, everybody feel stable, then how does people react? to whatever they do, how they should behave, how their character, how they should be acting toward. So it says here, it says, then people, then people will cherish products of labor without any self motives, no, not claiming them as their own. So that's what it says here. 货物其弃于地也，不必藏于己. So what it actually very important to mean here is that in a great harmony state, that people no longer trying to, for example, I see a great thing that nobody's watching, let's assume it's dropping on the floor. I don't try to take it or steal it and keep it in my own pocket. As of that thing to drop there, that nobody would harboring it for my private use. It should belong to the proper owner. It will belong to the proper owner. So nobody will try to steal things. That's what it's saying. Okay. So then the next thing is 利物其不出于身也，不必为己. So it says everyone, people feel ashamed. So people feel ashamed to contribute little or no effort on their task or duty. So what it means that people will do their best. So he says they work to the best of their ability without any thoughts of getting more. So it's a very different ideology. You know how now a lot of people sometimes in a difficult time, it's like, hey, I'll do less to get more. That's not how in the harmonious society work. Because think about it, say, I want more for doing less, and you say you want more for doing less, and then at the end nobody want to do anything, and we start fighting to getting more, but nobody actually want to contribute. So that's not great unity. That's a selfish intent. So that's the problem start occurring on, and that's breaking the trust too. So that's the problem happens in any relationship, that the trust, it's no longer there, the harmony is no longer there, because everybody is saying, well, I want to get more without doing more. I want to get more to do less. So then that's what everybody start fighting. But if everybody's saying, well, hey, I'll do to the best ability I can, and we'll work together, then everybody will work well together in a harmonic state. So he says, after that, everybody's have that same common thoughts, a common goal, and everybody have that common things to go work toward, then therefore evil conspiracy plots are never made, and theft and robbery are not initiated. So it says here in Chinese, it says 自故谋弊而不行. 谋弊 means conspiracy plots. It will never be made. It's a 盗窃乱贼而不作. So it says, then also theft and robberies will not be initiated. So then what's the end result of that? So the end result of that thus your doors no need to be shut in the evening, yet remain secure. So it means that even if you forgot to lock your door at night, that you're not worried about people coming to attack you or steal your money, not to mention breaking down your window, because everybody's living in great harmony. So as we know, in a safe neighborhood, that you don't have to worry about it. But in a dangerous neighborhood, that people need to put like metal cages to prevent people breaking their windows. They need to have a lot of security measures, cameras to ensure safety. But in a great unity state or great harmony state, this is not necessary. So this is what it's called. This is called the great unity or the great harmony of all. Okay, so this is his vision. His vision is for great unity, for everybody working harmoniously together. Okay, that was Confucius' vision. Okay, so let's go to next. So why did he teach? So let's find out what the motive of the teaching. If he was living in a very, very harmonious, and also great unity's time, did he need to teach that? It's like, if we're living in a if we're living in a society that right now there's no war, no problem, everybody is working well together, then even you teaching it, nobody is really thinking it's necessary because there's no problem, right? So when you start teaching it, he was teaching it that because back in that time, about 500 years before BCE, that was in China at that time was called the Warring State period. So how the Warring State period, let me explain to you quickly. It's there was a leader, supposed to be a leader, again, empirical leader, the founder of that imperial state was very smart and wise, was caring for everybody, good moral value. Then once you pass to generation down, 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 then the grandson or great grandson or the younger one no longer share those visions because they don't have that experience. They never seen that. They never been there. So they say, well, wait a minute, right now I'm the leader, so I should get the most money, I should get the most power, I should get all the substance, and that everybody in poverty. So then, well, wait a minute, if that happens, there's an imbalance. So then whoever have bigger, stronger power, who have more army, who has more weapons, they will want to overthrow the other government and become the next leader because then they can own everything. So that's what wars start happening. So back in that time, back in the Confucius time, he saw that because the there's the leader of the head state or the whole country, but his land is about like tiny. He has a tiny land. It's a representation. It's only for representation. He has no real power. He has no great influence. All the influence, all the powers were taken by the warlord of each different state or provinces in that area. So what happened is they all have their army and they're fighting among each other for gaining more ground, gaining more resources, while who's suffering? The general public, the peasants, everybody that doesn't have the power, they're suffering. So then he saw those. There's no harmony because everybody fighting among each other, and people at night they worry about being killed, and then there's never enough food to eat. Not to mention there's no education. So then he saw that. He's seeing all those political instability, the moral decline, and also conflicts between various states. So then he was motivated. He's like, hey, if this is not being taken care of, nobody came out and educate the next generation properly, will never be able to change going forward. So that's why he came out. And then he was all talking about, he spent all his time talking about, and not only talking about it, he started teaching students, influencing political figures, and also doing his part, talking about the morality. So he talked about. So here's the fundamental thing. Most people thought, oh, okay, so we see the political instability, moral decline, conflicts between people. Oh, let the government handle it. So he says, no, that's not how it works. He says, we got to start from where? We got to start from ourselves. He says, how do you start from ourselves? He says, that's what we got to cultivate moral virtues, ethical behaviors, not just saying you should practice it. It should be I should practice it. You should practice it. And we work together to establish a harmonious and also social order. We're working together. Okay, working together. And then based on what? Based on what? For example, if you look at all the human conflicts right now, your beliefs are different than my belief. What happens? Then we fight among each other about, sometimes it can be very very things that you think is ridiculous that people that end up in the war. It's about your belief is different than mine, and you see that right now. I don't want to go into too deep in that. That how you maybe your family view is different than mine, or your ethical view is different than mine. Oh, you are different ethnic group than mine. Then we start fighting among each other. Oh, your religion is different than mine. Oh, blah 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 blah. And then everybody start fighting, and then that's what leads to war. Once it leads to war, leads to destruction, leads to instability, leads to more hate, more hurt among everybody. So what he was trying to do is saying, well, let's drop those. Let's drop all those. Let's focus on the fundamental. So what was the fundamental? He says, of all virtues, the most important is a filial piety. Filial piety is the fundamental, and that's a Chinese very that Confucius actually introduced for that. If we explain filial piety, it's actually loving your parents, loving your ancestors, respect your parents, respect your ancestors, respect those people who help you to get here right now. That's the fundamental. So we're doing everything in accordance to that. So no longer, oh, my action is how I want to do it. No, I'm doing it so I do not shame my father, my parents, my grandparents, or my ancestors. So everybody have that moral caution in them. No longer about, oh, I want to do whatever, like that. No, everybody respect the tradition and also moral integrity. And also the key thing is cultivate personal virtues. So Confucius actually broke down the personal virtues in 8 cardinal virtues, and we'll introduce later talking about it. Not in this class, on the introductory class, but we'll talk about it later. And then what was his hope? His hope to instilling these values in individuals and also people leaders. And also, what's the reason for that? He want to create a more stable, ethical, and harmonious society. So that was his view. That was his vision. That's the reason why he taught. He taught it's basically is trying to lead to a more harmonious society. So a greater harmony in the society. Based on what? Based on more ethical, based on ethics, based on personal virtues and group virtues, everybody working together. And then everybody share the same value of the virtue as being a human being. And then we create that stability. So that's how he was asking for. And that's what in the old, if you look at the old Chinese history, those times, golden times, that where the government was doing really well and the people are doing well, economy doing really well, the everybody living in harmony, no war, not much war going on, was really practicing the Confucianism. So that's what his idea then become the the foundational to Confucianism. Um, and all the schools were teaching his philosophy, trying to create more stability in society and more harmony in society. So that's the reason why he taught, was because there was instability. So he wanted to find a way so there's more stability, there's more harmony, and there is that unity that everybody working together. That's what the reason of his teaching. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So when and did he start and where? So basically, when he started, as we talk about, he started when he's a very young age, and we'll actually learn that later in the Analect. He actually talked about how his goal and how he decided to go forward in his teaching going forward. His goal, his main aim, and how does he do it, and how does he practice himself. So it's not like, oh, I have this ideology, how do you do it? I don't know, I just have this ideology. That's not what he's talking about. He's talking about, I have these vision, ideology, and these focuses, and then this is how I'm doing it step by step. Okay, so that's what he's teaching is just so important. um, for in the past, for stability in the society, harmony in society in the past, 2,000 years ago, and also today. Okay, so um, so he started it. He started it in. He actually was born in a province called Lu. He was born in a state called Lu. Lu is right here. Lu is right here. So this is like the west, the southwest of right now known as Shandong province. Shandong province, a present day Shandong province. So the east side is called Qi, the west side called Lu, and then he is very respected later. And then he traveled. Look at how he traveled. He traveled to different states. Remember later before we were talking about how the warlords were really the ruling people of all China. And then so he was not sitting home. So it's like, let's take this for example. Oh, the world is in a mess. Okay, in a mess. So what do you do next? I'll sit home and watch TV and hoping for the best. That's not what he did. Or he says, "Oh, I'll sit home and I'll rent and get angry at myself and hopefully the world will be better." No, that's not what he did. So what he did is first he learned. That's what in the analect will say. First he learned how to really to be virtuous and have harmony within him, and then his family, and then people around him, and then he go around and promote about it. So that's what he did. He traveled from Lu to Qi to this place to taught about it. He also went to different state and teaching about it. Okay, so he was offering advices to the ruler and also trying to help to reform the society and bring more harmony. So that's what he was doing. And then he was doing across, and that time, the Chinese civilization was mainly kept in this area, and that's what he did for those years. So about 10 years that he did it, traveling he called it that time the world. And that time the world is that in civilization. Um, so that's what he did in that time. Okay, so when he was teaching it, and then his teaching was actually given um, either to his students or the people he encountered, or or even situation he was in, or the conversation he was having with the rulers or leader of the state, or it's just day to day his how he was living. So then his student basically collected his teaching and then compiled into a few books. One book is called the Analects of Confucius. And then there's another book called Great Learning. And then there's another book called Doctrine of the Mean. All these books emphasize the importance of personal virtues. So we talk about 8 cardinal virtues, the family loyalties, respect to elders, and then proper conduct in individuals, and also in various social rules. So let's introduce a very important word. In Confucians emphasize the concept of ren. So this ren also means human being. It also means people. And that also in a Chinese um, explanation, explanation also means benevolence and humanness. And to even go deeper on that ren, it's actually meant your conscience. If we translate into English, your conscience, how we are being a human being. For example, conscience. Oh, we see a person fell in, like someone's kid or a person who was drowning, fell into a lake and drowning. So if we can swim, we will jump right in without thinking and try to rescue them. That's the act of conscience. Not calculated. A calculated meaning that, oh, so a person is drowning. So let me think. Is this person have a lot of money? Or that this person have a lot of power? Or is it someone I know? If it's not person have a lot of money, have a lot of power, or not someone I know, who cares? That's not active conscience. Active conscience is actually doing something from your conscience, from the conscience given by you as a human being from the creator of the universe, the people who created us. Okay, the universe, so we call it heavenly matter. That's the creator who created us, of all human beings and all living beings. So that's given to us that we have the conscience to act upon on that. Okay, and then so he emphasized that great thing about ren, benevolence, humanness, and conscience, and then advocates the cultivation of moral virtues. The key thing about promoting moral virtues is to that everybody work harmoniously and also in a just society. So everybody working together, not only in a society, in a family, in a community, in a country, everybody working in harmony. That's what he's trying to help everybody doing by teaching this thing. Okay, so Confucius' influence extends beyond philosophy into realms of ethics, politics, and education. His idea becomes the foundation, like I said before, of the imperial state, official ideology, and also how the government was selecting good people to help the government being run. So that was that back in that time, that how this is being taught. So very important. Think about it. Nowadays, we live in a democratic society that people are being elected. But based on what? Based on their works, but based on their money, based on their power. But then it becomes dangerous if they don't have good moral character, they don't have good moral value, they don't have good virtues. What will happen? We probably won't feel it so much. But if they turn into a totalitarian, like a dictatorship, then what happened? Then you'll feel the difference. Remember, we read all the history. I don't want to go too deep into that. We read all the history of dictatorship, and then that one man had the power but no moral value. What happened? Destructions, and then at the end, hurting all human beings. So that's what Confucius was teaching, trying to prevent. Okay, so here, very important. So what, remember I talked about when we receive the Tao, that it's not religion. The great unity is not never a religion. The great unity is the way of life. It's how we should be living among each other, how we should work harmoniously. That's what Tao is about. The great unity is about. And that's what Confucius was talking about. He was never about politics. He was never talking about religious. He was never talking about, well, this is your idea or my idea. No, he's talking about this is our idea. How do we work together? How do we live together? How people should act and work together to live harmoniously on the society. And then we have the same value. Okay, so this is his teaching, and this teaching, the key point is to create stability in the society. And that's what we're learning this together. And then also to also be a better person. First, we be a better person ourselves, then other people will start influencing others. So it's never the other way, saying, well, the other people should be better. And then I become better. No, it should be, I'm better, I'm being a better person, I'm more virtuous, and then I'm start influencing others. Okay, so that's what Confucius teaching is about. So I hope everyone liked this quick introduction for Confucius and also Confucianism, and I hope that everybody will be able to join me and study Confucianism in depth together, and let us all take the opportunity to learn together, and also to understanding what was he trying to do and how he was teaching everybody to do it step by step in their lives. And then once we learn that we can also incorporate that in our lives, and also helping the whole society in a very passive way, but active way also. We're not trying to influence politics. We're not trying to influence religion. We're not. Like I said, Tao is not religion. It's not politics. Tao, it's the way of life. That's all live in great harmony. Let's all live in this great community together. Let's live in care and loving Ren, as he said, Ren, our conscience, based on conscience first. Okay? So that's why we receive that Tao. It's pointing before we do any calculation, went back to our conscience first. Go back to your conscience and we all work together and in harmony. Okay. So thank you today for participating in the program. And I hope you enjoy my very quick introduction. If I have not done a proper introductory, I do apologize for my lack of of understanding, and I ask for your forgiveness. And I also ask for Confucius' forgiveness, and also ask for our holy teachers for the forgiveness, and also our mentors, and also the Heavenly Matter to forgive me if I make any mistake in explaining about this. And then I hope we learn together and to also make me learn better. Okay. And thank you so much for your time. And thank you for learning together. Thank you. Okay. So that's finished. And that's all stand up. And then that's those 3 bows. Okay. Thank you all for your time. And thank you for learning together. Thank you and have a good day.